So this book that I have on the screen, it was apparently his very first book when he was still in undergraduate. And it's a cheesy title, How to Become a Straight A Student. That's not what we are trying to do over here, right? But it has a lot of practical advice, okay, that anybody preparing for any type of exam, standardized exam, can implement. And my goal is to sort of extract some of these type of details from some of my favorite books on time management, and that can help you within the context of FE Electrical. So what Cal, he has quite a few points in this book, but one of the main key points over here is intense study session. Now, don't be intimidated by the word intense. He explains it in a systematic manner. The point is that when you get down to studying, you have to maximize your concentration and minimize distraction. We all know this, but sometimes just having a structure around it makes it a lot more real, a lot more easier to follow. Most of you guys, and I've spoken to pretty much everyone one-on-one, onboarding Zoom calls, most of you guys are working full time, correct? And for you to find 4 hours, 6 hours of uninterrupted study blocks is very impractical, is difficult, right? So this is why it sort of resonates a little bit more with folks who are preparing for the FE exam. Now, if this was your high school exam, your university exam, where your full-time job was just to study, it would have been a different type of a situation. But his advice actually applies even to those folks, because the fact of the matter is that breaking down study sessions into more manageable chunks makes it a lot more efficient. So the goal over here is to schedule 30-minute to 15-minute sessions. It really takes a few minutes to get into a flow state, right? Really to get going. And once you are in that state, you have to ferociously protect it. Okay. You have to make sure that you have taken care of everything and anything that needs to be taken care of, and you are getting into the zone. Eliminate distraction. This is probably the biggest culprit in terms of ineffective studying. I took practical steps when I started having smartwatch. I was not a big fan of watches at all for the longest time. I never wore any watch, but then because of tracking and this and that, I started wearing watch, and now my watch also has the cellular feature in it. And I noticed that the notifications, I would always be looking at my watch every 5-10 minutes for notifications and whatnot, and it started getting to my head, right? And I've turned off all the notifications on my watch. When I'm doing any type of deep work, and deep work is by far his most famous book, most famous work, Cal Newport's. Those of you who haven't read it, I strongly recommend you take some time whenever you have downtime to read through it. I actually right now don't have the browser opened on my computer. I don't have my cell phone on me, and I don't have the watch notifications turned on. They're by default off. So you have to eliminate distractions. You guys, don't keep these devices near you. They are only going to cause harm to your study sessions. So just remove them, eliminate them for 30 to 50 minutes. And I believe all of us can do it. Clear your resources. Now, when you are starting the clock on this 30-minute, 50-minute intense session, that time should not be spent towards figuring out where your pen is, where your notebook is, where is your calculator, where is your reference handbook, where is your laptop. All of that overhead stuff has to be taken care of before you enter into this mode of studying. So whether you're studying online, whether you're using pen, paper, pads, it has to be there. And the best way to do that is to study in a setting which is conducive to intense focus. That can be library, that can be a room in your house, right? That can be your office at work, the cubicle at work, because that space is designed to do work. So make sure that you organize the night before, the day before, or whatever. Have very specific set of goals. Every time you get down to study for FE electrical and computer exam, your goal is FE electrical and computer exam preparation. So you can so everything under that umbrella, but that is not effective. For example, the live training program that you guys are part of already has a structure, built-in structure. And based on my conversations with a lot of you, that is one of the biggest attraction, that is one of the biggest selling point of my live training program for you guys, because week in, week out, exactly which topics we're going to be doing, exactly which lectures, courses will be covered, exactly which homework assignment problems will be taken care of. So when you are studying during the week or over the weekend, I would say become even more granular, become even more specific. I want to tackle mathematics, all the algebra and conic section lectures and quizzes on Monday. I want to deal with all the logarithm, complex numbers, and measurement of area and volume on Tuesday. I'm going to tackle calculus on Wednesday. I'm going to tackle matrices and vector analysis on Thursday. And I want to do all the homework assignment problems. And this is just hypothetical, right? This is me just thinking out loud. And homework assignment on Friday. And that's how I'll cover entire mathematics. You should have a clear goal for every study session, what you want to extract out of it. Now, taking breaks may seem counterintuitive for a 30 to 50-minute session, right? But on average, based on what I've read, average time that we can typically focus is about 45 minutes. And again, your mileage may vary. Some of us may be able to focus for longer spans, right? I force my P-Power students to stick with me in the classes for 1 hour, and then after 1 hour mark, we basically take a 2-minute break. As is the nature of the piece, that's what's expected, right? In FE electrical, the most part with certain exception, maybe when we get to circuits, electronics, and power, where sessions are going to be a little bit longer. But for the most part, your sessions don't stretch beyond 2.5 hours each session. But even if it's a 30 to 50-minute session, according to his advice, you should actually inject it with 5-minute, 10-minute break. Now, this break, how you take this break is also important. If taking break means opening YouTube and watching a funny video, right, or catching up on news or scrolling through Instagram, these are all open loop systems. He actually, in his one of his books, I don't know if it was Digital Minimalism or A World Without Emails. I think it was The World Without Emails in his other book, very nice book. He talks about the difference between closed loop systems and open loop systems. Netflix, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, they're all open loop systems. There is no end to it. Have you guys ever found yourself opening up Insta or opening up YouTube for just 5 minutes, and then for the next 2 hours you're still scrolling, right? They're open loop systems. They're designed to grab your attention and to present you with even more interesting stuff, right? So they just take you down a rabbit hole, right? So this break ideally should still keep you in that zone. You can just walk, you can stretch, right? Take a bio break, drink something, eat an apple, you make yourself a coffee or tea or whatever, right? Get some snacks, but you're still in that zone, right? You're still thinking about solving that quadratic equation. Why was your answer incorrect, right? Or just like you're completely not detached, so that there's no residual loss of focus. That's what this break is. The break is not to go to IG. And the last one, which I take upon myself to almost compel you guys to do it, is reinforcing the material. Why? Because when you complete one of my lectures, you end up in a quiz, right? The quiz is testing you on what you've just learned. When you complete an entire section, you end up in a mini exam. The mini exam is holistically testing you on all the lectures and the quizzes. I hit you up with homework assignments, 2 dozen, 1 dozen on average, right? They are reinforcing the material that you have learned. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. On a weekly basis, I'm creating content for FE electrical and P-Power exam preparation. I also discuss topics related to electrical engineering with a focus on power systems engineering. If you'd like to learn more about my FE electrical and P-Power exam preparation programs, please visit my website, studyforfe.com.